Maybe this sounds like you. You fall asleep just fine, but you keep waking up once, twice, even three times to pee. And by morning, you feel like you never truly rested. Most people over 60 tell themselves, my bladder's just weaker now. But that's not the whole story. There's something your body might be hinting at each time you get out of bed, and it's easy to miss unless you know what to look for. If that sounds familiar, you are far from alone. And more importantly, you deserve a real explanation, not just a shrug and well, that's just aging. Because here's the truth: waking up to urinate at night is a signal, and depending on the pattern, it can tell you a great deal about what's happening inside your body. Why this topic matters for healthy aging. Welcome to Healthy Aging Research. And this channel is dedicated to one thing: giving you clear, honest, evidence informed guidance so you can make better decisions about your health as you get older. Today, we're talking about something that affects a very large number of adults over 55, yet rarely gets the serious conversation it deserves. The medical term is nocturia. Waking from sleep one or more times because you need to urinate. It sounds minor, but depending on how often it's happening, how long it's been going on, and what else is happening in your body, it can range from a simple lifestyle issue to an early warning sign worth discussing with your doctor. We're going to walk through the most common reasons this happens, from the least concerning to the ones that genuinely warrant attention. And along the way, I'll give you practical, realistic steps you can take. Let's start with the good news. The simple causes first. And yes, these are very fixable fluid timing and evening habits. The most straightforward reason you're waking up at night is also the most overlooked: when you drink, not just how much. Many people go through most of the day without drinking enough water, then try to catch up in the evening. A large glass of water at 9 p.m., a cup of tea after dinner, maybe another drink before bed. And then they're surprised when their kidneys, which never clock off, send them to the bathroom at 2 in the morning. Your kidneys are always working. If you load them with fluid late in the day, they will process it overnight. It's that simple. The adjustment here is straightforward. Front load your fluids. Drink more in the morning and early afternoon. Taper down as the evening approaches. Small sips after dinner are fine if you're genuinely thirsty, but make it a goal to have your main fluid intake done before early evening. This one change alone helps many people reduce their nighttime trips noticeably within a week. Alcohol and what it does to your kidneys overnight. Here's something worth understanding about alcohol that most people don't know. Your body produces a hormone called ADH, antidiuretic hormone, which tells your kidneys to slow down urine production while you sleep. It's part of how your body naturally conserves water overnight. Alcohol suppresses that hormone. So when you have a drink in the evening, even just one or two, your kidneys lose that slow down signal and keep producing urine at a higher rate through the night. Combine that with the fact that alcohol also disrupts deep sleep and causes you to wake more easily. And you have a double effect: more urine being produced and a lighter sleep that makes you aware of it sooner. This doesn't mean you can never enjoy a glass of wine. But if nighttime waking is bothering you, try having any alcohol earlier in the evening or taking a few alcohol-free nights and noticing the difference. Many people are surprised by how much better they sleep. Caffeine, it's not just about coffee. Caffeine is a mild diuretic, meaning it does increase urine production slightly. But its bigger impact on nighttime waking is through sleep quality. Caffeine fragments sleep. It reduces the deeper, more restorative stages, which means you surface more often through the night. And once you're even slightly awake, your bladder is the first thing you notice. Here's the detail that catches people off guard. The half life of caffeine is roughly 5 to 6 hours. That means a cup of coffee at 4 in the afternoon still has half its caffeine active in your system at 10 at night. For many people over 55, the body processes caffeine more slowly than it did at 35. So a cutoff time that worked years ago may need to move earlier now. Try finishing all caffeine, coffee, tea, cola, and yes, even chocolate, by early afternoon. It's a small shift that often makes a meaningful difference. Evening meals, salt, volume, and timing. One more lifestyle factor worth mentioning: what and when you eat in the evening. Salty food, especially the heavily processed kind, affects how your body manages fluid. When sodium levels rise, your body draws water into the bloodstream to balance things out, and your kidneys end up filtering more of it overnight. Eating a large, late meal also keeps your digestive system active during sleep, which influences fluid regulation in ways that can increase nighttime urination. The practical guidance here: try to eat your evening meal earlier where possible, keep it lighter, and if you do eat late, a short 10 to 15-minute walk afterwards can help significantly with digestion and fluid balance. It doesn't have to be brisk, just nice. Just movement, when it's not really a bladder problem. Your sleep may be the real issue. Here is one of the most important reframes in this entire video. Sometimes, more often than people realize, the bladder is not what's waking you up. You wake up for another reason entirely. Maybe your room is too warm. Maybe your mind is restless. Maybe your sleep is simply lighter than it used to be, which is genuinely common after 60. And the moment you're awake, the first thing you become aware of is your bladder, even if it isn't particularly full. So you get up. And the next morning, you tell yourself you were up because of your bladder. Ask yourself this honestly: am I waking up because I need to go? Or am I going because I've already woken up? If it's the second one, then addressing your sleep quality will do far more than anything bladder focused. That means a cooler, darker bedroom, a consistent bedtime, less screen time in the hour before sleep, a calmer wind down routine. These aren't small things. They directly reduce the number of times you surface through the night. When the body needs a closer look, overactive bladder. For some people, the bladder muscle itself becomes overly sensitive, contracting and sending urgent signals even when it isn't close to full. This condition, called overactive bladder, is more common in women but affects men too, and it tends to become more noticeable with age. Imagine Margaret, age 67. She wakes up 2 or 3 times every night with an urgent need to go, but each time she reaches the bathroom, she produces very little. The urgency is real, but the volume doesn't match it. That mismatch is the hallmark of overactive bladder. The good news is that this responds well to a structured approach. Bladder training, gradually extending the time between bathroom visits, can retrain the muscle over weeks. Pelvic floor exercises done consistently strengthen the support structure around the bladder and reduce urgency. If symptoms are persistent or worsening, A GP can also discuss medications and other treatments that are well established and effective. Hormonal changes in women. For women, the decline in estrogen that comes with menopause has a direct effect on bladder health. Estrogen helps maintain the lining of the bladder and the tone of the urethra. As levels drop, those tissues become thinner and more reactive, leading to more frequent urges and, in some cases, leakage. This is not something you simply have to accept. Pelvic floor work is foundational here, and there are evidence based options, including topical vaginal estrogen, which has a very localized effect that many women find genuinely helpful. If these symptoms are affecting your quality of life, a conversation with your doctor is absolutely worth having. Prostate changes in men. For men, the prostate gland naturally enlarges with age, a condition called benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH. As the prostate grows, it presses on the urethra and makes it harder to fully empty the bladder. The result? A few hours after what felt like a complete bathroom visit, the bladder is full again because it never completely emptied in the first place. The signs to watch for include a weakened stream, hesitation when starting, dribbling afterwards, and waking multiple times at night. BPH is not cancer, it's benign by definition, but the symptoms can overlap with more serious conditions, which is why medical assessment matters. There are effective medications and procedures available, and reducing evening fluids helps manage symptoms in the meantime. The causes that deserve serious attention: blood pressure and how fluid moves overnight. Here's something that connects cardiovascular health directly to nighttime urination. When we sit or stand for long periods during the day, fluid accumulates in the lower legs. When we lie down at night, gravity is no longer holding it there, and that fluid shifts back into circulation. If your heart and blood vessels are managing that shift efficiently, it's not a problem. But in people with elevated blood pressure or early cardiovascular issues, that fluid redistribution triggers the kidneys to produce more urine overnight, often in noticeable quantities. If you also notice mild ankle swelling during the day, elevating your legs for 30 to 60 minutes in the evening can help redistribute that fluid before you go to bed, rather than after. Getting your blood pressure checked and properly managed is essential. This is one cause where treating the underlying condition directly reduces nighttime waking. Sleep apnea, a commonly missed connection. Sleep apnea is one of the most underdiagnosed reasons people wake frequently at night to urinate, and most people never make the connection. When breathing stops repeatedly during sleep, which is what happens in sleep apnea, the body goes into a brief stress response each time. That stress response suppresses the same ADH hormone we discussed earlier, the one that tells your kidneys to slow down overnight. Without that signal, urine production stays elevated through the night. Warning signs include loud or irregular snoring, waking with a headache, feeling exhausted despite what seems like a full night's sleep, or a partner who has noticed you stopping breathing during the night. A sleep study can confirm the diagnosis, and treating sleep apnea, typically with a CPAP device, often resolves the nighttime urination almost entirely. It also significantly improves cardiovascular health, energy, and cognitive function. If these signs sound familiar, please bring them up with your doctor. Blood sugar and metabolic health. This is one of the most overlooked connections in this entire conversation. When blood sugar levels run higher than they should, even in the pre diabetic range before a formal diagnosis, glucose begins to spill into the urine. And when glucose enters the urine, it pulls water with it. The result is increased urine volume, increased thirst, and more frequent nighttime waking. Here's what makes this significant. Many people in the early stages of insulin resistance have a completely normal fasting blood glucose reading on a standard test. But a more complete picture, including an HbA1c, which measures average blood sugar over 3 months, can reveal changes years before diabetes is formally diagnosed. If you're waking more often than you used to, and you've also noticed increased thirst or you're carrying extra weight around your midsection, an HbA1c test is a simple, worthwhile step. Earlier meals, regular movement after eating, and addressing insulin resistance early can genuinely reverse this heart and kidney function. When the kidneys begin to lose some of their filtering efficiency, as can happen gradually with age or underlying health conditions, they lose the ability to concentrate urine properly overnight. Instead of producing a small amount of concentrated urine, they produce larger, more dilute volumes. You wake up frequently because your bladder is genuinely filling more than it should. Similarly, when the heart isn't pumping as efficiently as it once did, fluid builds up in the body during the day, particularly around the ankles and lower legs. At night, that fluid re-enters circulation and the kidneys work to eliminate it. If you're noticing swollen ankles, breathlessness when lying flat or with mild effort, or persistent unexplained fatigue alongside increased nighttime urination, please do not dismiss this. These symptoms together warrant blood tests, urine tests, and potentially further assessment. Caught early, both kidney and heart conditions are far more manageable. When to rule out something more serious cancer, specifically prostate cancer or bladder cancer, is not a common cause of nocturia. Most people reading this will not have cancer, but certain changes should never be ignored. If your pattern of nighttime waking has shifted suddenly and significantly, if you've noticed blood in your urine, even once, if you have unexplained weight loss, persistent fatigue, or pelvic pain alongside these symptoms, do not panic, but do not wait either. See your doctor. Early detection changes outcomes dramatically, and in the vast majority of cases, there will be a more straightforward explanation. But the ones that matter are caught by the people who go and get checked. A simple recap. Let's bring this together. Waking up once a night, occasionally with a clear lifestyle explanation, late fluids, and evening drink, is usually nothing to worry about. Waking up 2 or more times regularly, especially if that's changed in recent months, is worth paying attention to. And if there are other symptoms alongside it, swollen ankles, breathlessness, blood in the urine, unusual fatigue, excessive thirst, that combination warrants a medical conversation soon. Your body communicates through patterns. This one is worth listening to. What's coming next? And why you'll want to see it. Before we close today, I want to give you something to look forward to. In our next video, we are going to walk you through a specific set of gentle exercises designed for adults over 55 that directly strengthen the muscles and systems involved in bladder control. These movements target the pelvic floor, improve circulation in the lower body, and help reduce the frequency of nighttime urination over time. No equipment needed. No gym required. Just simple, consistent movement that works with your body, not against it. If this video was useful to you today, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that one. And if you know someone who would benefit from this information, a friend, a spouse, a family member, please share it with them. This is the kind of conversation that doesn't happen
Closing
often
and
enough.
disclaimer.
Closing and
This
thank you for spending this time with us at Healthy Aging Research. As always, please speak with your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making changes to your health routine, especially if you have an existing condition or if any of the more serious symptoms we discussed today sound familiar to you. A provider who knows your full health history is your best resource for personalized guidance. Take care of yourself. We'll see you in the next one.